What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to this episode of English Turks, where I review your favorite Turkish series with and without English subtitles. And today we're doing a review of Seref Sözü, episode 2. And as you can see, I am now all electronic today on the computer with my story plot breakdown. I don't have my sticky note / picture poster board here today. Everything is on the computer. I hope you guys appreciate that. And so let's get into this episode. We start off with Yasmine, who has now run away with Mustafa, and nobody could find them. Now the whole family, and I'm referring to Esma, I'm referring to Javidan and Jihan, they have this whole conversation, and we kind of learn a little bit about what happened in the past. So let me walk you through this story, and for that I'm going to need Jihan and I'm going to need Esma, okay? So basically, Jihan was supposed to marry Yasmine. And in the process of supposedly supposed to be marrying Yasmine, I think, again, something happened with Seref, which I'm going to talk a little bit about him later. Something happened between him and Jihan's dad. And so then, as like a form of punishment or whatever, Miss Esma decides not to allow them to get married. Instead, gave him to his bride that has now since passed away, Ruya. Now, when this happens, this also causes family strife. So this is not the first time Jihan has gone through this. So he ends up marrying Ruya, and in marrying Ruya, he ends up kicking Yasmine off to the side. Now, when Ruya was married to him, she never bore him any kids, and to protect the family name, they wanted him to have at least a kid. They didn't know that, what was going to happen. So she ends up getting sick. Ruya ends up getting sick, and so they bring Yasmine, basically almost like a second wife, but they don't acknowledge second wives in that household. And so she basically came in as a mistress and basically ended up procreating with Jihan, and they had Mustafa. Now Ruya, the whole idea was that Ruya was going to end up passing. She ended up lasting longer than they expected, which is why Yasmine waited so many years before she even had another opportunity to marry Jihan. And that was a promise that Miss Esma made to her, that, upon the passing of Ruya, then Yasmine would become Jihan's wife. Now Ruya, was sad about the fact that she could never have kids, and then just lost her will to live. However, she ended up living for quite some time, and then upon her death, which I'll put her back over here since she's now gone, that's where we come in, where they're now supposed to be married. And remember, they already have this son Mustafa. However, at the birth of Mustafa, she didn't have like breast milk, and she didn't really have a mother-son connection with Mustafa. And the person who really raised Mustafa was Zainab, and that was like his milk mother, which most of them have a milk mother aside from their actual own mother. Now we figured out actually in this episode what happened to her face. She was caught in the house, and there was fire, and basically it scarred her face, and so she's in the process of healing. Now remember I was saying I think she's related to the family. She's actually, Miss Esma was her milk mother, and they are siblings. However, I also still feel like they are related to her in some way, but it's kept under wraps, I guess because they're not part of the wealth track, or maybe Miss Esma married into money. So Zainab ended up being the one that really raised Mustafa, and Yasmine was just there, I'm assuming. Okay, so let's pull off these characters. I'll put them up here in the corner. I'll put Safir here down to the side, and I'll put Miss Esma back over here. Now, the main thing going on in this show now is that these two are gone. No one knows where they went. And then Jihan finds out from Hassan that Yasmine or somebody had broken into, I guess, like a private cottage that he has. And so he automatically assumes it's Yasmine, and by the time he gets there, Yasmine jumps into the ocean, and he jumps in to save her, leaving Mustafa. Basically, he hasn't even seen Mustafa yet, but Hassan did see Mustafa, and so Mustafa is at the house. So I'm gonna put him over here because he's at the house, and Jihan ends up saving Yasmine. Yasmine ends up being fine, so she's over here in the corner. There's nothing wrong with her. But now the voice that we're all looking for, the person that's missing, is Mustafa. And they spent a long time looking for him in this episode. And I thought it was weird. Even into the night, they were looking for him. And I thought to myself, how do you expect a little boy to last that long in the water? And they said he's an excellent swimmer, so that's why they had so much hope, since he can swim very well. And so they spend the majority of the episode looking for him, and then Isra starts to feel really pressured. Let me put Mustafa over here. He's still missing. Isra starts to get a lot of pressure from the family. Miss Esma has put Isra in the basement house, and then Javidan comes and starts just questioning her about how her and Jihan met, what happened, what is going on with their relationship, why did she wait so long. And she basically tells the truth. I mean, that she met him at a young age, and they kind of met back and forth while Jihan was meeting with her dad, which that technically is a lie because he hasn't seen the dad in a long time, so that wouldn't account for them meeting up. But that's what she tells Javidan, and basically that keeps the story very clean because majority of it is their story. And so Javidan is really angry because after all of this happens, Isra starts feeling a lot of pressure, so she decides to take baby Omer and leave the island. And when she does do that, she ends up running into none other than Mustafa, and Mustafa guides her to the shore where he's reconnected with Jihan. Now, Jihan does not allow, where did she go? Yasmine to touch Mustafa because, hello, you left him on the hill. I mean, at least she didn't jump with him into the water. She left him in the house. So now we have Jihan, who's really excited. I think he's excited to have Isra as his wife, and in the process, but he's not trying to show too much excitement, even though he is super excited. And so basically they spend a lot of time connecting in the episode. However, the one person who isn't happy is Miss Esma and Emsal. I always say Esma. Now, Shukran is really angry, and she's angry for none other than her daughter. And so she tells Emsal that if Yasmine can't go, she's banning Yasmine from going back to their house. And Emsal said that's fine, but Mustafa is staying in the house. And so to attack her even more, she says that Javidan is no longer welcome in their home. So now Javidan has been kicked out of their home, and they can no longer, and that's what makes Javidan so upset. And so now Shukran has gone home, Yasmine has gone home with them, and Metin actually agrees with his mother, leaving Javidan without a husband. So Javidan doesn't see that her husband is wrong for putting her in that position, even though he's trying to fight for his sister. So anyway, Javidan ends up talking to Isra and saying that She'll get her out of the country and everything so that she can repair her marriage. Isra ends up agreeing, and in the process, Javidan does help her. Jihan has no idea what's going on, and they end up leaving. I'll put her here because I'm going to need her. They end up leaving, and she takes baby Omer onto the ship, and the fisherman, or whoever the person is with the boat, is supposed to take her to a side of the island where she can get to maybe Mahu Bay or something. And so Javidan goes back home and runs into Emsal. And when she runs into Emsal, Emsal tells her, "Don't think I don't know what you did." And what Emsal does is try to make it look like Isra committed suicide and still keep the baby. But Isra does not jump off the boat like the fisherman tells her, or whoever is the boat driver. He doesn't jump off the boat, and therefore he shoots her. And the reason why she doesn't jump off the boat is because she doesn't want everyone to think that she committed suicide. She wants him to shoot her, because then if they find her body, they'll know that she was attacked and that she didn't leave at her, she didn't die at her own free will. And so that's literally where we end the story. They did have a moment where all the time they spent together, he helped her say goodbye to her father. He introduced her to Hassan, which I told you was going to be his best friend. I mean, a lot of different things happened, but that's what happened in this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I can't wait to see what happens next week. And until then, definitely leave some comments below, and let's talk about it. I hope this ratings go up, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this with anybody that may like Turkish dishes. All right, bye guys.